Welcome to Show Me Something Wrong,
where each episode one of us chooses a movie to watch that the other hasn't seen. The movie is often obscure, usually odd, and always wrong. I'm Dave.
And I'm Guy.
And today I've chosen the movie, and it's Suburb Murder from Hong Kong from 1992, directed by, and I'm going to butcher the name.
Do it.
Kin Ping Cheng.
Oh, look what you done, Dave, you cunt.
Let's get into it. I feel like there's a lot to get through.
I love a good cat 3,
Yeah.
Dave. I love a good cat 3.
Actually, I was going to say this up the top. So this is our second Cat 3, right?
Yeah.
So
cat 3, third Hong Kong.
Third Hong Kong film, second Cat 3. Cat 3 is a rating. To hear us talk about what a Cat 3 is, go back and listen to our episode, Don't Stop My Crazy Love for You. Can't remember what number episode, but go back and listen to that one.
We're not going to do the AKAs this time. There's too many together. We don't have time for that.
But yeah, so if you want to know what a Cat 3 is, maybe go back and listen to that. So yeah, this film is Suburb Murder, is very fucking shockingly obscure. I think I found it on DVD the first time I went to Hong Kong. Had no idea what it was, but had you ever heard of it?
No,
before?
never.
Yeah, and looking at it on IMDb and Letterboxd, it's been logged by so few people, which really surprises me because it's a fucked up film.
It's mad. It's bonkers. It's absolutely off the chains.
It is, pretty high up on the kind of crazy scale when it comes to Cat 3 movies.
I mean, you have like the usual Cat 3s that often get brought up in conversation, often the Anthony Wongs or the Simon Yao starring films. This one just never comes into the conversation. I never even heard of it.
Yeah, totally. It has completely slipped into obscurity, and I guess part of it is it's a cheap, ugly looking film. It is a gross looking film. So I feel like a lot of the Herman Yao films, the Billy Tang films, they look really good, and there's a kind of skill behind the direction, whereas this one just feels very grimy and gross with not many redeeming features.
So sorry, so you said this was 92?
92,
Just for perspective, when was The Untold Story released? Do you know?
Not off the top of my head, but isn't it like early 90s? It's probably a similar kind of year, right?
I'd be curious because I feel like this took a lot from The Untold Story in terms of how the story is told.
Yeah, and I want to get into that as well because that it does follow a lot of tropes of the Cat 3 genre. Untold Story is 93. So this is before?
Oh my goodness.
That's quite interesting, actually. Yeah. But
wow.
Yeah, you're right. It does have a similar structure, which we'll get into. I went back and forth.
Completely thrown me off.
Yeah. I went back and forth a lot in preparing for this because there are things about this film and where the story for this film comes from that I was like, should I save it for the end? Should I do it at the start? And I've decided to do it at the start because I think it will set the tone for how fucked this film is.
Okay.
I'm going to say this is one of the most exploitative films ever made. And it's because of what it is based on.
Oh, okay.
This is going to be quite a long intro, so I apologize in advance, but feel free to stop me at any point.
All right.
So let's go back to Hong Kong in 1985. Okay? I had to watch a lot of YouTube crime investigation videos in preparation for this episode, by the way.
Okay, I'm excited.
So some of the language might sound a bit trashy 90s TV. But anyway, Hong Kong, 1985, 12 years before China is about to resume its sovereignty. And, it's a place that's full of doubts. I think you feel that a lot in the films from this time, right? From the 80s and the early 90s. And around this time in the mid-80s, crime was starting to increase a little bit, but nothing too serious. Hong Kong's known as a fairly safe place overall. But then, on April 20th, 1985, there was a murder, or two murders, I should say, that was unlike anything that had ever happened in Hong Kong. And it completely rocked the whole of Hong Kong and the whole community and sent everyone into a frenzy. And maybe you might have heard of this case because it's really famous. It's called the Bremer Hill Murders. Have you ever heard of that before?
No, that doesn't ring any bells.
All right, so it's a fucked story. So just get ready. Okay, so I guess like the image of Hong Kong that we have is like a big kind of urban city, right? But there are also, you know, a whole lot of hilly kind of areas. Yeah. And apparently 40% of Hong Kong is actually uninhabited hill kind of areas.
Wow, as much as 40%? Yeah. That's kind of nuts.
That was at least according to the crime scene documentary. I think it was called Crime Scene Investigators at that time that was made, which was maybe like 10 years ago.
Right.
Yeah, 40%. So Bremer Hill was one of these places, this kind of hilly sort of area, but it was really easily accessible from the city. So it was a place where people would go and relax and walk around a little bit. So that's where these murders took place. Oh, it's a fuck story. It's grim. This is gonna such a grim intro.
I feel like sorry to interrupt you halfway, but any film based on a murder in Hong Kong is bound to be completely fucked. Oh yeah, there's so many of these cases.
Oh yeah.
As with the Untold Story and like the Hello Kitty murders, all this stuff. You know, and I feel like any film that was based off a murder, the actual murder case itself is going to be beyond fucked up. So I think I've braced myself. I'm ready to hear something really messed up now.
So anyway, on April 20th, a couple, Nicola Myers, who was 18, and Kenneth McBride, who was 17. So they were expat students in Hong Kong. And they head to Bremer Hill to do some studying. So just hanging out in the sort of hillside area. And then that night, they didn't come home. They were reported missing by their parents. There was a search for them. They couldn't find them. But they did find some of Kenneth's school books scattered around the bushes of Bremer Hill. So it seemed like something bad had happened, right? So then the next day, on the 21st, and also, a lot of the details I'll tell you, keep them in mind for when we talk about the movie. Because it's quite... Yeah.
I'm already, like, placing the scenes in my head.
I can imagine, So the next day, Sunday 21st, a bank manager is jogging around in the park and comes across two heavily beaten bodies. Like, really heavily wounded bodies. So one of them was Kenneth, the guy who was lying there dead with his hands and feet bound, and his shoes were missing, his Nike shoes. And Nicola, the woman, was partly naked, and her body was, had signs that she'd been sexually assaulted, and she had around 500 wounds.
Oh my god.
Isn't that fucked? And so, it's unbelievable. The main detective was a really experienced homicide detective. And in this documentary I watched, he said he'd never seen anything like it. Never seen a body with that many injuries before. Yeah, all the cops on the scene were describing it just as horrific, totally out of character from Hong Kong, and just a total waste and no explanation as to what had happened. It was just absolutely shocking. So the bodies on Bremer Hill were flown off the hillside by a helicopter because it was quite a remote sort of area. An investigation was open, and 400 cops combed the area of Bremer Hill. As they searched it, they kept coming across like torn up school books and textbooks that had belonged to the couple there. Already at this point, there was like a lot of controversy that started brewing. I think that's what makes this case so fascinating as well. This case got a lot of media attention at the time, and it's pretty clear why it did, right? So the victims were expats, and this kind of aspect sort of added this, kind of racial and political tension to the story. And the Chinese media started to talk about this story and point out that maybe the police were only interested in this case because it was foreigners, because they were British and because they were white. Yeah, pretty complex, but, that's a debatable kind of point.
Yeah.
But it's definitely true that the media paid more attention because of who the victims were. And, this was a pretty privileged couple as well. So both of them lived the expat lifestyle, kind of not rich, but they lived in comfort. And, Kenneth was like the captain of the rowing team. Nicola was this beautiful, smart woman with an interest. You wanted to be an interpreter. So they were, privileged for sure. But the police kind of pushed this idea away and tried to say it's nothing to do with their race that we're putting this many people in. It's just because this area is so impossible to navigate. And we require this many people. If it was, Hong Kong kids in this situation, we'd have the same sort of investigation. But I think that aspect of the story, the expat thing, is what created the interest in this story. And I don't know if have you ever seen Cat 3s that kind of reference this crime? Because I feel like I can't think of any off the top of my head, but I have seen a lot that do. You can tell they're inspired by it.
I can't think of any. I think we mentioned before, like, we blitzed a load of Cat 3s like 10 years ago, and they all kind of merged, and I went for many years without watching any Cat 3s, so they may have popped up in the past, but not off the top of my head.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think either of us are as well-read enough to really comment on the complex, like, political and racial stuff of this, but regardless, it was a tragedy and an awful thing that happened no matter who the victims were. So back to the investigation, the police kept, looking for information. They ended up finding pieces of wood that they pieced together, and they realized that was the murder weapon.
Huh.
And it had fingerprints on it. So maybe all these things are probably clicking in with
they found pieces of wood within a forest and put them together.
Basically shattered pieces of wood that created one sort of club-like thing. And they found some fingerprints on that.
No wonder they needed 400 people. Can you imagine looking for a piece of wood in a forest?
It's insane, yeah. And they also found some prints on the school books as well that they collected. But they ran the prints, couldn't get any matches. Right. They also found semen and blood on Nicola's body. But this is 1985, so DNA testing, it was there, but it's like a pretty new kind of thing, right? And there were just no witnesses at all, because it's in this remote kind of place, right? But as they were like, looking at what had happened in the crime scene and found the murder weapon, they started to put together the story.
Right.
And they realized that Kenneth must have put up like quite a struggle just based on his injuries. And they realized there had to have been more than one attacker. It was most likely a gang of people. So they started trying the impossible task of trying to find these guys, right?
Yeah.
And they started interviewing people kind of outside the Braemar Hill area, sort of circling out. And they interviewed 18,000 people, which was every family in the area around this crime scene.
God, that's insane.
I know, it's nuts. But this created another problem, because this is Hong Kong. They're not used to these kind of crimes, right? So they had all this information, but it was kind of useless. They didn't know how to process it, because they didn't have the resources to do anything with it. So they took all this information over to London, because London had started using this new data system to like sort out information, and it had actually been used to solve the Yorkshire Ripper case.
Right.
Peter Sutcliffe. Sutcliffe, is that his name? Yeah, I think so. Something like that.
I know the Yorkshire bit.
You know that guy. So they used the same kind of technology that had been used to help capture him.
Good old England.
Yeah, thanks, England. So using this data system, they narrowed the 18,000 people down to 180 possible suspects.
Oh, that's pretty good.
Yeah, so I think it was done through basically like blood types and stuff like that they managed to narrow it down. But then they were kind of just stuck with that. So they narrowed it down, but they still had no more evidence. They just had 180 potential people.
Oh, that's still a lot better than 18,000.
It is better, but they were kind of stuck at this point, and they didn't know what to do next. And then just something totally random and kind of amazing happened that completely changed the case. So at this point, there was a reward offered for information that would lead to an arrest, but the reward money was only 50,000 Hong Kong dollars, which is apparently about 6,000 US dollars. I don't know about at that time.
$5,000 or so. Yeah.
So not a huge amount of money, right? But then an anonymous Chinese businessman, we still don't know who he is to this day, I don't think. He raised the reward amount to 500,000 Hong Kong dollars.
Oh, hey.
this change in the reward money basically unlocks the case.
Wow.
This led to the tip that solved the case, basically. So they got a tip from a triad protector,
Right.
who got in touch with the detectives. They actually knew who he was as well. He was known to the police, and he claimed that one of his followers had confessed that he'd killed the couple. So they had a guy's name, and his name was Pang. I'm going to butcher a lot of names, sorry. So the guy's name was Pang Shun Yi,
All right.
who was 24 years old. Not someone particularly known to the police. Like, he wasn't like a big time criminal, but he had some minor kind of triad connections, right? So they located him, and he confessed, and he gave the names of 4 other accomplices.
Wow.
So he had, oh god,
here we go, Dave.
Tam Ji Fun, who was 20, Chiu Wai Man, who was 25, and here's where it gets really fucked up. Cheung Yao Hang, who was only 17.
Oh god.
So
is he technically a minor, by Hong Kong standards by that time?
And then even worse, one Sam Lung, who is only 16.
Oh my
So those last 2 guys were actually younger than the couple that they had murdered. So it was like teenagers killing teenagers, basically. So all of these 5 guys, they were all arrested. In the process, they found the Nike shoes, Kenneth's shoes. Finally, after 6 months, they had 5 people in custody. So these 5 guys were interviewed over months, and it turned out that they were not, they weren't hardened killers at all. They were just these guys that had, maybe committed a few minor sort of crimes, but they were all like really remorseful for this act, and it was like it was not something that was planned. It wasn't a planned attack. So then they piece together exactly what happened, and this is where it gets really fucked.
Even more so.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give you the details of the crime.
All right, here we go. Yeah.
And again, keep in mind these details for when we talk about the film. So on the day that it happened, the gang, they were all like hanging out by the road, opening car doors for money, like getting tips by opening car doors. And Pang, the first guy they arrested, who was kind of the leader of the group, was like, all right, how about we go up into the hills and we'll steal copper from the government aerial station. So just like steal some copper to sell. And so they went up to Bremer Hill, and then they were like, oh, how about we find someone to rob? Let's make some more extra cash. So they were walking around trying to find someone, and they came across Nicola and Kenneth, who were studying, and they looked at them and they're like, they're expats, they're Europeans, they're definitely going to have money. But they did not have money. They only had literally $1 on them at that time.
What, was that a Hong Kong dollar?
I guess a Hong Kong dollar, which is
that's like nothing.
Yeah. And this really pissed the gang off and kind of triggered the attack, basically. But in all of this, Pang was the instigator of this attack and kind of the ringleader, kind of directing everybody what to do. So he had found this broken wooden handle, which was the pieces of wood they'd found along the way. And that is what became the murder weapon. I think they were using it to threaten it first, and then it actually became the murder weapon.
Okay.
And he was threatening all the other guys to take part in the attack. Basically, like, you're part of this. Like, you're forced to be my accomplices. So Kenneth was bound up, horribly, like, savagely beaten. Chan, one of the guys, pulled off his shoes that he kept, so that was later used as evidence. And Pang started raping Nicola, and it gets a lot worse now.
God.
So I'm sorry, but Nicola's she was penetrated by the stick and a bottle as well, and apparently the attack on her went for hours.
Oh no!
So this was not just a quick murder. This is horrible torture kind of stuff. It's awful.
Oh.
This is awful, but just to really show how absolutely vicious this attack was. By the time that she was dead, her jaw was broken, her left eyeball was out of the socket, and apparently, according to the police, she had this expression of just extreme suffering on her face. So it was a really horrendous crime. After this attack was going on for ages, Pang decided we have to murder them to avoid getting into trouble for this, basically, to prevent them from identifying them. So that's why they were murdered, basically. and they left the park, scattered all the textbooks and evidence, and that was the crime.
Fuck.
And like what is just so fucked is that like I said, they were not hardened criminals. They hadn't done anything like this. Hang was like a low-level triad guy, but nothing like this. And it's just seemed to come out of nowhere. Just a horrendous...
That's insane.
I know. It's so shocking. Like, just so you can kind of understand, like, not only the fact that it was expats, not only that it was Hong Kong, which was a safe place, but it was a really horrific crime as well.
You said that they were all really remorseful during the questioning.
Yeah. I guess
Yet it went on for hours.
Yeah. I don't know the details of, were they all remorseful? Like, was Pang remorseful? It sounds like he was kind of the bully that kind of bullied them into this, but I don't know the details of that. But just to go into a few more details after that, so the trial, despite the fact that they'd all confessed, they actually all pleaded not guilty on trial, despite the confession. I was a bit confused by that. But while this was all happening in custody, the youngest one, Wan, who was only 16, he was like, okay, yes, I'm going to admit my guilt and I'll give evidence against the others, sort of, becoming like a witness for them. He was detained in an indefinite prison sentence.
Right.
And at the time it was at Her Majesty's pleasure. Because this is like UK, Hong Kong, right?
And this is the 16-year-old.
Yeah, so he's basically indefinitely detained, like, under Her Majesty's pleasure. It's a very strange phrase. And I'll come back to that in a bit as well. So ultimately the jury found them guilty. The death penalty was given to Pang, Tam, and Chiu, but this was later changed to life imprisonment.
Right.
And Pang and Chiu are still in prison.
Wow. And
Tam died of cancer in 2009. So two of them are still in prison. One died of cancer. The other two, the minors, Chiung and Wan, so they were underage at the time. And again, they were detained at Her Majesty's pleasure, which just means basically, it sounds like it's like kind of no real like end in sight, basically.
Right.
So
you're here until we say so.
Exactly. Yeah. So after the transfer of power in 97, the law basically required to be reassessed. One's parents kind of appealed to the families of the victims, so Kenneth and Nicola's families, and asked for their forgiveness. To their credit, like, it's pretty amazing. So in 1998, the families announced that they'd forgiven him.
Wow.
And appealed for him to have a lesser sentence. So he was finally let out in 2004.
Wow.
After spending all that time in prison. And the other guy, Chiung, was eventually released in 2007. So they're out of prison. The other guys, the other remaining living members, are still in prison. So, that is the tale.
That's fucked.
And so like...
Oh my God.
As we were saying, like, a lot of Cat 3s and Hong Kong films in general, that true crime does inspire a lot of these films. Actually, Herman Yao made another film called, have you heard of From the Queen to the Chief Executive?
No.
This is a film from 2001. It's actually a really good film. It's not a Cat 3, and it's not a trashy film at all. It's not like a typical Herman Yao film. But it's really heavily inspired by one's situation of being kind of trapped in prison.
Okay.
It's a really good film. I really recommend it. It's kind of about the whole kind of legal system. And there's other films that kind of allude to the case in different kind of ways. But the only film that I know of that kind of directly takes this case and retells it in a way is today's film, Suburb Murder, which I personally think is maybe the most exploitative film I've ever seen, just in the way that it uses the murders. And it's not even the story itself, but what it does to the story to make it so much more fucked than it is. Like, and it's kind of a despicable movie.
It's funny because hearing you talk about that case and having watched the movie just yesterday, like, I'm putting together the pieces in my head, but I'm also noticing some things that were made for the film.
Absolutely. And I think that's what makes it so much worse. It's the dishonesty and the exploitativeness of how it's told. So, yeah, when we're describing the film, keep the real story in mind.
Yeah.
Because it makes it so much worse. Just before we get into the film as well, I wanted to talk a little bit about the director and some of the people involved. So it's directed by Kin Ping Cheng. Oh, that's a hard name to say. He's made 2 other Cat 3 bangers.
Bangers?
One is called Body Lover.
Okay.
From 93. Have you seen that?
No.
That film has the funniest ending to any movie I've ever seen. Right. Should I spoil it or not?
No, we got a lot to talk about.
All right, okay. And the other one he made was Hong Kong Eva, which actually uses footage from Body Lover. It's really confusing. He kind of recycles footage. But anyway, so he's the director. That's all he's done, just those 3 Cat 3s. And they're all grimy and disgusting.
Right.
Very similar to this film. The lead actor in this is Lam King Kong, which is the best fucking name ever.
Oh, he's in Untold Story, isn't he?
Is he in Untold Story as well? I didn't recognize him from that. I know him from Taxi Hunter and other stuff.
Yeah, I was wrong. He's not in the Untold Story. He is in that Taxi Hunter.
The female lead is Chung Bik Wing. She's from Dr. Lamb.
Okay.
And have you seen Girl Gang? Oh, another great Cat 3 film. Maybe we'll talk about it on this pod at some point.
Yeah.
And then Kang's dad. So the main guy's dad is Ku Feng, who's a big Shaw Brothers guy.
He's a familiar face, yeah.
And then, kind of really interestingly, the main cop, who's not in it a whole lot, but he's Lao Siu Kwan, who also produced the film. And he's a Shaw Brothers guy. So I was like watching this and I'm like, this is reminding me of Danny Lee and his role in Untold Story, right?
Right,
this kind of older actor producing, playing the hero kind of role. So I wonder if he sort of... Oh, but wait, Untold Story's after this! Oh, that's messed up my theory. Maybe Danny Lee watched this and was like, oh, I'm going to try that approach.
I can't believe that's mad.
All right. Shall we get into the film?
We better. We would have been talking for 30 bloody minutes.
That's right. We'll try not to go into too much detail of the film.
Can I just say, after hearing everything you said, I feel quite bad because for the first, hour of this movie, I was laughing my ass off.
I think it's okay to laugh at this film because it's still ridiculous.
It's on such a ridiculous level of intensity. You know how, we've talked about it before, Cat 3 films is ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
And everyone talks in this, kind of weird elevated state of mind where everyone's shouting at each other and fighting and threatening to kill everyone.
This film has fucking hilarious moments because it is a classic, Hong Kong Cat 3 movie. And the opening shot is absolutely fucking hilarious because we get a title in Chinese. Did you translate what that title said?
No.
And it says, "This story is purely fictitious, and any similarity is purely coincidental." Bullshit.
Classic.
Fucking bullshit.
Classic.
All right, do you want to tell us about the absolutely ridiculous opening scene?
Oh my goodness. I loved it because it was just so light-hearted, fun music playing.
The music's great.
And this young, big-tittied woman running through the fields in her sports bra, purely for visual sake.
Yeah.
She has nothing to do with anything.
Did you recognize her? That's a cameo. So that's Lily Lee, who's a big Cat 3 actress. And then her granddad is Lung Kai-chi, who's also this really big Cat 3 guy and loads of other stuff as well.
Right.
So these are cameos here.
Oh fuck, she's in Run and Kill, isn't she?
Yeah. She's in a lot of great stuff.
And so she's running through the fields, and some old ass dude is kind of running with her, desperately trying to keep up with her, gasping for breath.
Right? Yeah.
She says granddad. I don't know, is it her granddad? Because
you looked into it in detail.
No, because, and it's kind of in the same in Japanese as well, but, you call, someone of middle age, uncle. Or,
yeah.
And in Japanese as well, we call old men, granddads,
Sure.
So I was kind of thinking, he's just this old dude, and the way it's been subtitled is as Granddad, which happens a lot. There's so many mistakes in the subtitles in this.
Totally.
So I was like, he's probably just fucking chasing some tail through the fucking forest.
My favorite thing in the subtitles is how it just occasionally it just stops. Doing this, there's huge scenes where it just stops subtitling it. Like they just give up.
Yeah, no, we're not gonna do that part. So yeah, he's running through, chasing after this hot young girl, but suddenly she's lost her earring, and she's like, "Granddad, I've lost my earring. You gotta help me find it." They're in the middle of the fucking woods, and there's no way to find an earring. So they're like fumbling around the floor looking for an earring among the grass. And what do they find?
A horribly mutilated dead body, eyeless, or eyeball hanging out, and nipple missing as well, which is quite gross. And yeah, that happy music cuts out.
And Granddad faints.
Granddad faints. And then we get the title, Suburb Murder. And that happy music is replaced by some very spooky music.
Ooh.
So already it's like so similar to the real incident, right? But again, this is what I mean by how fucked and gross this film is. In reality, it was just an old bank manager guy that came across the body. In this film, they're like, let's make it a bit more interesting and put a scantily clad Lily Lee like coming across the body, which is just so gross.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Love it.
So then we're at the police station. Lily Lee's getting interviewed about the body. Granddad's in the hospital.
Can I say, she's still in her sports bra.
Yeah.
Like, still getting questioned.
She's still in that outfit. And then we meet our hero detective, whose name I don't know. They never say his name in it, as far as I could tell. But that's Lao Sui Kwan, the producer guy. So he comes in and speaks to the British chief, who's like, in King's Park, not Braemar Hill, in King's Park, there's been 2 murders. And they've set up a special unit, and there's going to be a reward of 50,000 Hong Kong dollars, just like in
That's
the
quite
real
close
thing.
to the actual deal, though.
And yeah, so he gets the case. It's quite confusing, all this early stuff. So he's in with his team, just like looking at pictures of that horribly mutilated body. They're all smoking away, just commenting on how disturbing it is. Looking at autopsy reports, all this kind of, fast sort of scenes of them investigating. And then it just gets really confusing.
Before it gets really confusing, I was really thrown off by this random white dude. So like the main cop comes in and he greets him in English. And then you see this English guy. And then they just start speaking in Cantonese.
Yeah, just straight into the Cantonese.
And that happens quite a lot.
Yeah.
Random white dudes speaking full-on Cantonese.
Yeah.
Yeah, it threw me off. It just threw me off, Dave.
There's a lot of that in this.
I was thrown off by the voices, the faces, the subtitles, and then it gets really confusing because we're jumping back and forth through time.
Yeah, so basically we've got this team who's set up to investigate the case, and then it just goes straight into one of them saying, Paul has the information.
Who the fuck is Paul?
Don't know who the fuck Paul is. He's one of the cops we find out later, but at this point, don't know who Paul is. So they're like, Paul has the information, let's reconvene at HQ, and we'll sort this out. And you're like, what?
Can I just say, like, I know you said we'll find out about it later, but when we do find out who Paul is, I just found it hilarious that he's a Chinese guy.
Oh, right, yeah.
His name is Paul. He's one of the Chinese dudes.
That is pretty funny, yeah. Yeah, basically they're just like, Paul has the information, let's go sort this out.
Yeah.
All right, okay. And then we cut so confusingly to a gang of like disheveled looking guys. We don't know who these guys are yet. One of them is limping along as if he's been injured. They're walking out of this building down the street, and the cops just pull up and start chasing them down, and we instantly go into this big crazy shootout. And there's just people everywhere. It's just madness, just guns firing off everywhere. Which is, again, another ridiculous kind of addition to the true story. None of this happened in reality, of course.
Yeah.
They're just making it more action-packed, right?
I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, it's chaos. So
Because there's no indication that we've, like, jumped through timelines.
no, it's really, really confusing. But yeah, this gang, they split off. One goes one way, The others run down another road. It's all very chaotic. Everyone's firing at each other. Some of them seem to get away, but later on we find out that's not the case. One of them is just getting beaten up by a cop and is captured and arrested. Again, we don't know who this guy is yet. And I love this when they arrest one of these guys. They're just like kicking the shit out of him while he's handcuffed. It's like classic Hong Kong.
Classic Hong Kong cops.
So good. So this one of these punks. So it seems the others have gotten away, but we don't really know. We haven't been.
We don't know who they are.
We don't know who they are. We don't know any of this. But this one guy that's been arrested is getting interrogated, and this is Kang. That's his name, Kang, not Pang, like in real life. Kang. And he is the main character of our film. Definitely not the hero of the film, though. So, yeah, he's getting asked all these questions. They're asking him how he got involved in this crime, violently slapping him around, playing a real good cop, bad cop kind of thing. And the main investigator, that the sort of hero guy we met before, whose name I don't know, he claims that they've arrested all of his friends, and the others have turned against him. But he says, hey, if you confess, we'll protect you. And then they give him a little cig, and he puffs on his cig, and the camera goes up, and we move into a flashback.
So this is where I was like, hang on. So this is directly taken influence from the Untold Story, and we're having like the cop interrogation scene, and the story, the murder, is told through multiple flashbacks. That was like my initial thought.
Yeah.
But the fact this came up before Untold Story is kind of thrown me completely off.
But it is such a trope of the Cat 3. I wonder what the first one is.
Yeah.
Like we should have a look at it at some point and work it out.
Work out the timeline.
Yeah, because so many of them do this flashback structure. Daughter of Darkness is the same, right? That does the flashback structure because they're like investigating the case.
I've watched it for so long. I love that film though.
But yes, so many of them
is it Lily Chung in Daughter of
Darkness? Yes, yeah.
She's so good.
It is her, right? I think so, yeah. But so many of them do that structure, so I don't know.
It's kind of a classic. It's like the stereotype of like Hong Kong Cat 3 films based on real murders.
Yeah. Based on a real murder, flashback kind of stuff. All right, so we're going into the flashback.
Yeah.
And I love this. I love this initial flashback. So we see a kid playing with a lantern. So this is Kang as a kid, although I guess we don't really know that yet. And he's about like, what, 11 or 12 or something like that. And he's just hanging out outside this schoolyard.
Yeah. All the other kids have gone home.
Yeah, he's just there by himself. A teacher, Miss Lee.
She's a right cunt, isn't she? Fucking hell. Can you imagine having her as a teacher?
She's so rude to him. He's like the things that she says to him. So he's like, "Oh, my dad, he's not arrived to pick me up. Can I just leave?" She's like, "No, of course not. You're an idiot. Just go study."
She says, "You're stupid and lazy." Not until your parents go like, "What the fuck? You're stupid and lazy."
Poor kid.
Based off of nothing. He just wants to go home.
Yeah.
But his old mate
Chi.
It's funny because there's one point during the film where he's called Guy in the subtitles, and I don't know if they're calling him Guy, just like, hey Guy, like Guy. So for the longest time, I thought his name was Guy. I was like, this guy. And then like towards the end, I was like, fuck, his name is Chi. So yeah, Chi, not Guy, his mate. He kind of comes to the other side of the fence. He's like, hey buddy, let's go play. But he's stuck in school.
Yeah.
But good old Chi, who's a nice guy. He's not a rapist cunt, is he?
No. He's a cute little chubby kid. Little chubby boy.
Until later.
Well, we'll talk about that later.
He busts him out.
Yeah, he busts him out of the school. They run off. Then we get one of the most jarring cuts I've seen in some time, where we cut from these kids very abruptly to an absolutely fucking disgusting looking man. Sorry, I know this is really harsh to say, but they've made him up to look disgusting. Yeah. He's all greased up and gross, and he's feeling up a woman in this bed. The lighting is disgusting.
The most dingiest, shittiest looking apartment ever. A fucking like mattress on the floor. Don't have a fucking bed frame.
The woman that he's filling up is played by Ka Ling, and I'm like, I wonder who she is. I looked her up. She's in a lot of Cat 3s. Probably her most illustrious role that I could see there. She plays rape victim in the film Talk to Me, Dickie.
Oh!
Do you know that film?
Yeah. I think we've spoken about that
I think
before.
that was like a
haven't we?
big inspiration for wanting to do a podcast. That
Right.
film, yeah. But it's disgusting, isn't it? And this is the first bit where nothing's subtitled as well. Like he's just feeling her up, like really manhandling her boobs, just like mashing those boobs. Nothing subtitled, horrible red lighting. And then it cuts back to the kids. You're like, what the fuck was that?
We're jumping back and forth between this gross mattress on the floor, dingy room sex scene to kids playing, and we're going back and forth. And there's this weird ass conversation between the two kids, and he's like, "Oh, don't you want to play with me?" And she is like, "Oh, it's not that. I have to move to America." And it's like, that's completely irrelevant. That is so pointless to the plot.
Yeah, it is very pointless.
So he's talking about that he has to move to America, and they exchange things to remember each other by.
She gives Kang an amulet from his dead mother to protect Kang. And Kang, kind of a shitty president return, gives him his slingshot.
Yeah. Which is, he calls a spring.
Yeah, after that we cut back again to that sex scene.
Yeah.
So we see that again. There is one of, we talk about cum faces a lot on this podcast.
You love a cum face,
but
mate.
This guy's sex face is, I mean, if you ever want to get rid of a boner, just look at a freeze frame from this scene. It's just bulging eyes, smeared with sweat. It is
He's a real sweaty mess, isn't he?
So unerotic, disgusting. Yeah, Kang heads home. We're back to Kang. He walks back to his house and he looks downstairs and he sees his dad with all his tough mates playing mahjong.
Classic move.
Yeah, and he looks kind of, scared and runs upstairs. Opens the door, and what does he see?
Well, he sees his mum getting ploughed by the sweaty old man.
So it becomes pretty clear that's his mum having an affair, basically, while the dad is downstairs.
But the kid is kind of like peeking through a crack through the door. He doesn't reveal himself, does he?
Yeah.
So he kind of walks in, and he's like, "Oh, this is wrong." So he descends back down the stairs, at which point a phone call comes in, which the dad picks up, and it's the school, the horrible ass teacher telling him that the kid's basically not there. He's done a runner. So the dad's like, "What the fuck? Hang on, guys, watch my beer. I gotta find my dumbass kid."
Hold my beer.
Yeah. And he bumps into him, right? And the dad fucking unleashes hell onto this kid. It's horrible.
Yeah.
He just beats the shit out of him.
There's a lot of this character getting the shit beaten out of him, Kang.
Yeah. Dad's beating him, and he's saying he's gonna kill him for skipping school. He's like, "I'll kill you for skipping school."
Get your priorities in check, mate.
Jesus Christ. So the kid runs back up to the safety of his mum, but unfortunately, she's getting plowed by the sweaty, gross man. Door flies open. The dad catches them getting fucked. And we get the greatest scene.
Oh yeah, this bit's so fucking bonkers. So the dad's run in, caught his wife, having sex, and please tell us more.
He
about
does
this
the
great
Marilyn Burns.
Yeah, once again.
How many of these have we had? We need to count how many films
so
that we talk about
funny.
where someone jumps out of a window.
Yeah.
So he's like butt naked, puts on his little tidy-whities, jumps out the fucking window.
Oh my god.
And the dad's like calls down to his cronies.
He's like, "Go get him!"
Yeah.
Yeah. The dad pulls out a gun as well. He's like threatening
God.
But then I shouldn't say I love because the next sentence is about to be talking about domestic abuse, but there's this absolutely insane sort of slap exchange now. So the guy runs out, and then the dad's like beating up the mom, like, how can you do this? And then the mother starts beating up Kang. The son is like, you little shit. It's your fault that your dad caught me doing this. And then there's that shot of the dad where he slaps the two of them at the same time.
Double slap.
Double slap. Yeah, the dad,
so good.
The dad kicks her out. He's like, "Get the fuck out of my house." And then the dad blames everything on the kid. He blames everything. And also, as he's talking to the kid, he obviously starts swearing, so all the sound cuts out. I love it when that happens in Cat 3s. Have you seen that? So you're seeing the most fucked up shit in these films, but when people swear, it's bleeped, or just, in this case, the sound just drops out and it's all like censored in the subtitles.
I didn't know what the cause of that was. I was wondering, was there like, you know, like you get missing reels and shit, because the print wasn't great. No, and I wonder if they just lost the audio to that scene.
That was definitely a censorship.
Was
moment.
it?
Yeah, that happens quite a lot. Especially in Cat 3.
Really, yeah.
It's just so funny that they have to censor swearing. It's
mad.
Bizarre.
And but not in English though, because the dad says to his son, he says, "I'll break your fucking legs if you come home. Go to the dormitory." Like, what the fuck?
Oh god.
Dad of the Year award. Jesus Christ.
So absurd.
He slaps the shit out of his son, says, "Don't come back or I'll break your legs." He hasn't even fucking done anything wrong.
It's truly ridiculous.
The poor kid lost a mum and a dad in the same instant.
So Kang is then in bed. So I guess he hasn't been kicked out yet, but he's like in his bed, and he.
Oh, so we've cut forward now.
Yeah.
Haven't we?
So yeah, it's at nighttime. He's all upset. He's crying. He pulls the blanket over his head, and then we kind of do like a little cross dissolve into the morning, but the blanket is different, and we're like, what's going on here? And then someone pulls the blanket off, and we realize that we've moved forward in time, and now we've got adult Kang. So Kang is off to work with his mates. Don't know what his job was. He seems to be washing vegetables.
Can I just say, he is living in the shittiest fucking place ever.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
We definitely need to get onto that when we see it in more detail a bit
horrible.
later. It's pretty amazing. It's a full cracked end.
It's just fucking, like, spray paint all over the walls, with 5 fucking dudes.
My favorite is on the wall. It's in capital letters and an exclamation mark. It just says "fuck," like spray painted on the wall. It's a full blown, disgusting shithole crack. Then,
Yeah.
But yeah, him and his friends are like working their job,
Washing veggies,
listening to horse racing, and this is the gang, Kang's gang,
the rape
and
gang.
I feel like they can only be separated by their haircuts.
I totally agree.
And also, their names, you don't hear them until the final scene. So I had to go back in my notes and add in the names. But we've got Niu, Niu, is the kind of main friend, and he's like a big, tough guy. And he's just got a regular haircut. So he's regular haircut, man.
I totally agree. I don't know any of their names, so I think we should just like describe them by their hair. We've got Tough Guy.
Tough Guy with a regular haircut. We've got Shan, who has long black hair that grows longer throughout the film.
Well, hair grows, doesn't it, Dave?
But I mean, it's significant. It like triples in length.
Is it
by
like
the end
Story
of the
of
film.
Ricky style, where it just keeps changing?
It's very different. Then we've got Harry, is his name, and he's not really that hairy. He's got shorter hair, but he's got cool frosted curly hair.
Oh, him, yeah.
Frosty hair boy. And then we've got Chiang, who's got a disgusting greasy mop with a little orange streak at the front.
He seemed way too old to have that kind of hair, right?
He seemed way too old, yet I think they implied that he's 60.
Dude, I was looking and I feel like everyone is too old to be having this kind of hair. They're all kind of like, it's like, especially that guy and the frosted tips and the weird long permy guy.
Yeah.
It's like, these kind of look like teenager
Dog shit haircuts.
But
garbage.
Especially that guy with the greasy fucking dyed tip.
I hated that haircut. Man.
It was so gross.
One of the worst haircuts I've ever seen. So they're betting on horses, like listening to like horse racing. The horse they bet on loses. And they all start just throwing fucking vegetables in each other's faces. The boss comes out and is a bit pissed off, as he would be, messing with the product there.
Yeah.
And he fires them and refuses to pay them their wages. And they walk off, pissed off. The gang's not happy about losing their job, and they head off to cause some trouble.
That interaction between the boss and the gang is funny because like the boss wants money back for the product. They're pissed off because they're not going to get paid because they fucking ruined the product. But it's just so typical of a Cat 3 film. Not just Cat 3, any Hong Kong films where everyone is just threatening everyone.
Yeah.
And it's like,
They go to 100 straight away.
It's so fast. There's no like reason there. It's like, you better pay me. You better watch your back. I'll kill you. Like, you're going to be sorry. Like, There's just everyone threatens people so quick.
Yeah. Oh, it's great.
It's great.
Oh,
so they're pissed off. They're like, "Fuck it, we're gonna go to the park."
Have a good time in the park.
So they're like, what do they even do? They like throw in a fucking frisbee or something? I don't even know.
It's kind of baffling, but the gang's all kind of like, worked up, except Kang is like quite separate. He's like quite brooding, isn't he? So he's kind of a bit more chill, whereas the others are just ludicrous. They're like acting like toddlers, like just flinging magazines at each other. I don't even know where they got them from. And as they're like fucking about with each other, they throw one of the magazines and it smashes into this couple. So this couple sitting down at a bench hits the couple. Understandably, the man of the couple gets really pissed off and basically tries to tell them to fuck off. And the gang just instantly gets in this guy's face.
Yeah.
And then things take a very fucked up turn.
Oh, yeah. So they're running through the park, running for their life. The couple
basically all they did was just like, don't like throw shit at me.
Don't throw shit at me.
And then the gang's like, we're gonna fucking kill you. So this couple, as you say, runs off into the park.
I think two of them chase down the guy, beat the living shit out of him, whilst the other 2 or 3 chase down the girl, find her, rip her clothes off. This is broad daylight, by the way. And the guy is like bleeding intensely from his mouth. All 3 guys are laughing, and we get this kind of cutting back and forth between this guy getting brutally beaten, blood spraying everywhere, whilst the girl gets her clothes ripped off, tied... No, she's not tied to a tree. No, the man gets tied to a tree whilst the girl gets raped on this rock. And there's this constant back and forth between laughing and screaming. It's really intense.
Yeah, it's totally fucked up. And it happens so quickly. And it's like, whoa, what are you guys doing? Yeah. It's fucking crazy. Yeah, they're just... it's kind of ridiculous. Like, it's horrible and intense, but it's also fucking ludicrous. Yeah. So when they're beating up the guy... For example, there's a shot where one of them jumps onto a tree and does a sort of swing kick into the guy, which makes him like spit out blood everywhere. It's just ridiculous.
And this is kind of what I was saying before. I was kind of laughing throughout the majority of this film because it is just so over the top. And you can't take it seriously.
Oh, it's ridiculous.
Even though we're watching some guy getting beaten up and seeing a girl get raped, it's just so over the top and so unbelievable. Unfortunately, this is a real thing, though.
Yeah.
But I did kind of laugh my ass off quite a lot.
But also, again, this is how fucked this film is, because this didn't happen.
Right.
This is not based on reality. They're just like, if we only have, 2 murders in the film or like 2 assaults, it's a bit boring. So let's put this scene in the start.
More rape.
Yeah, just put on some sexual assault to spice things up, which is so fucked up, so messed up.
But fortunately for them, someone comes and they scarper. Yeah, let's get the fuck out of here. So
the gang rushes out midway through this horrendous beating and assault, but they're not happy with that. Like, that's not enough for them. So they're like, all right, let's go fuck up the boss.
Yeah.
Like the guy that fired them. They go over to the workplace and follow him as he comes out. And this is so fucking funny, this bit. They put a bag over him. He's like in an alley and they're just beating the shit out of him. And Kang's kind of encouraging it, right? And my favorite line in the whole film is in this scene. So they're beating the shit out of the boss while he's in this bag. And then Kang goes, fly him! So they pick him up and throw him. Fly him! Oh, God, it's so funny. But yeah, and midway through this beating, a cop shows up. So once again, their violence is interrupted. And they run off. Kang's kind of at the back, so he's sort of caught behind. And as he's trying to escape, he runs into a taxi. And goes to jump into the taxi, but who's in the taxi?
Not Guy.
He cheats it, but he's no longer a chubby boy anymore. He's
a sexy boy, isn't he?
He's a sexy, handsome man.
Yeah.
So they go off together in the taxi, escaping. Kang and Chi reunited. They hang about down by the river. Kang talks about all of his troubles. He's like, yeah, I live with these fucking shit cunts. I live with these shitty guys. And Chi's like, yeah, I've had a rough time too. My dad died, so I guess I came back to Hong Kong. What else am I going to do? And then Kang invites Chi to come live with him.
Yeah.
So he's like, yeah, just come out. Come and live with me. And then in a very touching moment, we see they pull out the slingshot and the amulet.
As if they just carry those
got 'em
around with them every fucking day.
I feel like the amulet, sure, whatever, you can wear it around your neck. The slingshot, does he take that everywhere?
like these actors in their 30s carrying around slingshots.
Oh god! And then what happens next is...
Oh my god! So that's it. Chi has been invited to stay in Kang's apartment. He's like, yeah, come crash on mine. It'll be fine. You'll fit right in. Don't worry about it. Cut to a gross ass sex scene where all the
Gang
fucking
bang.
dudes, the rape party, are all taking turns having sex with the same girl, two girls, in that shitty apartment with spray paint on the wall, and just this horrible, dimly lit, grim little sex den where they're all just fucking the same person, and it's all just like buddies. Yeah, like you go first, I'll go first. I'll take the front, you take the back.
The lighting is so fucked. Like it's all this pink lighting. That graffiti's so prominent. That big fuck graffiti is super prominent. But as you said, it's just so gross. They're all fucking one by one, and it's got this ridiculous sort of dance music over the top as well. But I couldn't stop laughing at the way it was they were all doing a cum one by one. Ugh. So the first one's like, all right, here we go. All right, you get in. It's disgusting.
I think they really tried to make this as sexy as possible.
Oh, it really is.
And there's a few scenes because you got the rape scenes, but there's also plenty of scenes where they try to set some kind of erotic mood and atmosphere to it. But unfortunately, you're really just watching 5 gross dudes with gross haircuts fuck the same girl. It's horrible.
It's very disgusting.
Chi fucking comes in, so Kang takes Chi back. Chi's first through the door, walks into this horrendous scene, and he's just like, wrong apartment. Kang's like, no, this is it. Come in. Come stay with me and my friends. Come stay with my 4 male friends, and we all take turns fucking the same girl. Whose idea of that is a good place to stay? Can you imagine inviting someone home?
Oh, God.
Come crash at mine.
No worries, come on in.
Don't worry, there's just me and my 4 male friends, and we're just gonna all have sex with the same girl on the same mattress. This kid who he hasn't seen for 20 years.
Oh. Can you imagine the stench in that place? It is so grimy. It's so gross, that scene.
So have you ever met up with old friends that you haven't seen for 10 years or whatever, more childhood friends?
Yeah.
And there's always that kind of icebreaker. It's I haven't seen you for, since we were fucking kids. How have you been? Can you imagine being that person, meeting your friend, and he's like, yeah, come crash at mine.
Yeah, no worries.
Come into the fucking cum dungeon. I would walk the fuck right out. Can you imagine? I think we should have finished our friendship when we were kids.
Yeah, I would be horrified to be in Cheese, but he stays. He's fine.
He doesn't seem to have a problem.
Yeah, he does at first, but then Kang's like, you'll get used to it. So then
you'll get used to the smell.
So after this horrible so after this awful gangbang cum dungeon nightmare, we cut to, I guess, maybe the next day, and Chi and Kang are walking down the street. The boss that they beat the shit out of is there, and he's got a gang of rough toughies with him, and they all have these big metal bars, and they just go straight over to Kang and Chi and start walloping the shit. They beat Chi up to the point that I'm like, fuck, is Chi gonna die in this scene? Even though I've seen this before.
Chi's not done anything wrong.
They're he's lying down on something, and they're smashing his chest over and over with this metal bar. And you're like, what the fuck is this? And they manage to escape. That scene's utterly pointless as well. We never really come back to that in any way, shape, or form.
Just more action.
Yeah. Just another... which, to be fair, it was pretty fun.
I enjoyed it. And
then finally, we go back to present day, the interrogation. we've seen all this sort of build up, and then we're back to the interrogation, and Kang is asked a very triggering question. And this is, oh my god, this is where the film, I think, takes it up a notch that is so disgusting, so much worse than that cum dungeon. But Kang Kang is asked about his parents, and then we go back to the flashback again. So the gang is walking around Hong Kong, and they go into a brothel. And I don't know about you. I know I've seen this before, but it's been a while, so I didn't remember a lot of it. But already, I feel like you know where it's going. Because he's just been asked about his parents.
Yeah.
And then they go into a brothel. Oh, God. And then in the brothel, again, it's just gross. There's this, like, gross old man. He's like, yeah, I got a few girls here. And he's sort of setting them all up. And he's like, I don't have quite enough. Can you guys share? And yeah, Shan and Chiang, so what's that, like orange hair guy and long hair guy, they're like, yeah, no problem, we'll share a girl.
We love sharing.
Yeah, we love
we do it all the time.
Didn't you see the scene before in the cum dungeon? There was fucking 4 of us then. Now there's only 2. So they're like, yeah, we'll go and fuck a girl together. And Kang's like, yeah, I'm good. He never really gets involved.
He doesn't, does he?
Yeah.
No.
So he's like, nah, that's okay. And he just sort of broods and puffs a little ciggy. So the 2 guys are off with their prostitute, but we don't see her face. So already like, oh, fuck you,
we know
movie.
Who's this
fuck
movie.
you, movie. This is horrendous. Kang's waiting in the hallway, puffing on his cig, not interested. And then one of the guys finishes, having sex with the prostitute while the other's still going for it. And he's like, all right, I'm going to go get a cigarette. Opens the door, goes to get a cigarette from Kang. Kang looks into the room, sees the prostitute's face, and it's his mum that his 2 mates have just tag team fucked.
Oh, man.
Dude.
It's so grim.
It's fucking
so
horrible.
Grim.
And the film doesn't... Like, it's fucked, but the film never has the scene where Kang confronts the 2 guys.
It seems to... It doesn't really affect their relationship whatsoever.
No, not at all.
He kind of puts all the blame onto his mum. Like, he's like, oh, she's a fucking bitch, she's a whore. And it's like... There doesn't really seem to be any ill thought towards his 2 friends. They're just... not obviously, they didn't know.
Yeah.
But you would still have some sort of ill...
Yeah. I'm not gonna lie, mate. If you... And say, Jake, this friend of ours, Jake, if you 2 fucked my mum... in a Hong Kong brothel, I would never speak to either of you again.
Yeah, it's not something you'd be like, oh, sorry, mate, I didn't know.
I would never get over
Just
that.
give me a free pass for this time. Like, Christ. Of all the brothels, of all the women, who knew it would have been your mum, Dave?
But he's very pissed off at his mum and calls her... all sorts of awful things. The 2 mates are just sort of sheepishly like, whoopsie daisy.
I had my fun.
And then, that's it. Like, he just loses at her. And then, once again, our mate Chi is trying to sort of calm him down.
Nice guy, Chi.
Yeah, Chi, I mean, he's making good points. He's like, Chi's had a horrible life. Your dad was a horrible guy. He kicked her out, tries to sort of defend her. But Kang is like, no, she's just a whore that likes being screwed, I think was the line that he says. And yeah, he's fucking pissed off. Goes back to the brothel. There's a lot of back and forth, isn't there? So they're at the brothel. They have their deep and meaningful chat. Then he goes back to the brothel. Who knows how many days later this is. But yeah, he sees his mum coming down the stairs with... couldn't tell, like, customer or pimp or...
I thought he was a customer.
Yeah. But
then he's trying to get money off her, right? Yeah.
But basically this guy who's just being aggressive to her, trying to get money. And Kang, once again, fucking loses it. Starts wailing on this guy, beating the shit out of him. But the mother stops him and sends him off. He goes off on his way.
And that's the last time we see or hear of the mum, isn't it?
That's it. There's a lot of stuff in this that's just sort of like, yep, that's it. There we go. But yeah.
But that's it. Now he's down in the dumps. He knows mum's a whore.
Dumps.
He tried to help her. He tried to defend her honor, stop the guy taking her money, but she ended up blaming him. He's just not having a good day, is he?
not having a great time.
But what happens?
Oh,
Two beautiful young
Babes.
ladies on bicycles come fucking kamikazing into them.
yeah.
Like, crash into them. Cheeky little romance forms. Oh, who's this beautiful young lady? and then we cut to another random scene of them like doing some. I thought they were like washing cars or something.
It's so confusing. But yeah, like as you say, we meet mainly. There's like one woman that matters for these two ladies, but there's students, right? Yeah, one of them crashes, gets hurt. Her name's Kitty. We don't learn this until much later. She's played by Chung Bik Wing, who was in
Dr. Lam.
Dr. Lam and Girl Gang as well, which I
Right,
really
right.
like. But yeah, then we just cut away from that. We don't really get to see her for a bit. And yeah, Kang and Chi are washing cars and opening doors for money.
That's pretty
real. So, but that's like what the real gang did, right?
Right,
Like before
yeah.
the murders.
That really confused me. I didn't quite know what was happening there.
Well,
I didn't know that was a job that you could do.
So that was the thing, right? So when I was reading about the case and watching things and they kept saying opening doors for money, I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? And then I saw it in the film, I'm like, oh, it literally just is opening people's doors and then asking for money.
I thought they were like cleaning window. You know, like, someone
So
you
they
pull
are-
up to like traffic
like
lights.
window washers.
Yeah.
But they're mostly just opening doors and demanding money.
But whose door do they open? My goodness, it's only Kang's dad, who he's not seen.
It's only Kang's dad.
It's only Kang's bloody dad, who he hasn't seen for 20 fucking years. He seems really nonchalant about the whole thing. He's like, I've not seen my son in 20 years. And he opens the door and he's like, oh, you look like a beggar. You're useless. He calls him useless.
Yeah.
He just opened his fucking car door for him. That's not useless. That's a use.
He helped you out.
Yeah. He throws some money in his face.
Big wad of cash in his face.
Take it.
But he's like, they're obviously like telling us like, oh, he's rich now somehow. We don't know how. But like before he was like in a filthy wife beater playing mahjong with his rough, tough mates. Now he's all suited up. Don't know what happened there, but yeah, he's a rich dad now. I did find it very funny how Kang bumps into his mum and his dad just like so coincidentally, right?
That massive population.
Yeah.
Of all the car doors I had to open, why did it have to be yours? At this point, I was like, this movie's so fucking dumb.
It's a very dumb
It's so
film.
stupid.
But yeah, then we see Chi and Kang hanging out by the riverside, right? And they're with Kitty, the bike injury woman that we very briefly met before. And Kang's talking about how he never had warmth from his family. Kitty's talking about how she's an orphan. And Chi's like, oh, we're okay. We're doing all right. He's always a bit positive, right?
Good old Chi.
Then Kitty says like this fucking baffling little riddle about who would you rather save, your friend or your lover, blah 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 blah.
Skip that.
But
Bollocks.
basically, we're setting up a little cheeky love triangle between
love a
these
juicy
three.
love triangle.
So Chi, Kang, Kitty, bit of a love triangle going on there. So then things get a bit more bonkers. Back to them opening doors again, and this undercover foreigner cop. Gaijin, we can't say Gaijin. Guaylo cop.
Is the Cantonese guy shit.
There was so much Guaylo in this film.
Which is what in English, what would that be?
Is it like White Ghost? Or
I heard it was like White Devil.
a White Devil. Okay, yeah.
My friend lived in China once, and some random bypasser called him a Guaylo, and he was like, "Well, maybe you are the Guaylo," in like Cantonese or in Mandarin, and the guy was like, "Oh," and he fucking spooked and ran off. Yeah, I heard it was White Devil, but anyway, not a nice thing to call someone. It's a racist term.
But this,
So this fucking Guaylo comes along.
So this fucking Guaylo cop is, arrests Kang for begging. Which,
That's not
is that
even
a crime?
Not. I don't know about. It can't be.
Yeah. So you're
can't be.
arrested for begging.
Have you been to Hong Kong?
Yeah.
Yeah, we've spoken about this.
Yeah.
I saw so many beggars.
Yeah.
They're not getting arrested.
Doesn't seem like it's yeah, but I think they were implying, right, that this Guaylo prick is a is that, he's like an opportunist, right? He's that seemed to be the implication of the scene, that he was a prick.
I guess it also drives the fact, like, or his motive of how he hates fucking foreigners.
Which, to me, that is the thing that's the most fucked about this retelling. Because in the real story, that was a layer, of course, of that murder. But to make it the motive...
They really push it.
And to basically make this a revenge film, essentially, is very messed up.
It's like when he sees fucking white faces, he just fucking...
Yeah.
And goes nuts.
And it kicks in from this point. Like, just out of nowhere, now we've got this sort of, foreigner sort of thing. This hatred that he has. But yeah, like, this guy's trying to get him to sign a confession. Yeah, the dad shows up, right? So Kang's dad...
Out of nowhere.
Yeah, out of nowhere, even though he hasn't seen him for years, and then he's back again. And he's refusing to bail him out. Then we don't really know what happens with that. It's just sort of left at that.
It was around this point where I kind of started to feel a little bit bad for Kang.
Yeah.
Like, he's had a rough time,
despite the unprovoked sexual assault and beating earlier.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
So then we're back to that present day, his interrogation, and this is when he really cranks up the anti-Guilo rant. He's like, I fucking hate foreigners. Yeah, he's enraged.
Oh, he's saying it to the cop, isn't he?
Yeah.
And he lets something slip, doesn't he? What he say? He said, "You don't know how I feel. Have you ever had your girlfriend be killed? I fucking hate foreigners." Like, and the other guy's like, "Wait, what?
What?
Mentioning kills now? Like, he's let something slip."
So we know there's more to his foreigner hatred that is more than just this, shitty cop that he met.
He's starting to leave a little trail of breadcrumbs.
Yes.
Juicy Guilo breadcrumbs.
Some white bread. So then we're back to the flashback, and Kang,
oh my god, this is the best.
With Kang, it's just so badly set up. Like, it's so poorly fucking set up. But Kang sees Kitty, and he's got some ice creams, right? And he's like, "Oh, do you want to go out on a date?" And gives her an ice cream.
He's trying to woo her with an ice cream.
Woo her with an ice cream. Then go see a movie and gives her the ice cream. But then she is like watching from the distance. And he's got ice creams too.
He also has ice cream.
2 ice creams.
That's how you woo Hong Kong girls. Bring them an ice cream.
There's a hot tip from Kang and Chi. It's all about the ice creams.
That fucking shot of Chi there with his ice cream.
So funny. And this, the sadness on his face, right? It's so good. He's like, oh god. And they see him, right? And he tries to hide the ice creams. He hides the ice creams behind his back.
It's like, I imagine it was like a bouquet of flowers or something. He hide the bouquet, or like a box of chocolates. He's got a fucking cornetto.
Yeah. It's like, when did he buy that? Surely it's going to be melted to fuck. Oh, God. But they have this, awkward interaction where Kang ends up seeing the ice creams and kind of works out what's going on. And Kitty's like, all right, how about we all go to the movies together?
Oh, fun times, Jesus.
Chi cock-blocking Kang there. But, so this whole sequence is so, the time is so confusing here, but it just cuts to them straight after the movie. And they're just walking down the street, and whatever they saw, they didn't enjoy it. Kitty's like, that was a shit film. And it's quite tense and awkward, because it's the 3 of them, right? And Kitty's like, all right, I'm off. See ya. She walks off. And it's like, oh, okay. Then we go forward in time.
And it's quite her birthday party?
Well, just before that, though, we go forward in time and we see another date between Kang and Kitty. And we're like, okay, so this is not the movie. This is another date. Okay, that's a bit confusing. It's nighttime now. And Kang's dropping Kitty off at the door. And he's asking whether, he can spend the night with her. And she's like, no, my family's waiting for me. But then Chi, once again, is randomly there, watching sadly as Kang's getting these sort of light kisses from Kitty. What the fuck? And then Kang turns around after Kitty goes and sees Chi, and he's like, you're here again. And they have this kind of awkward interaction, but she's like, hey, you know what? Mates before dates.
That's it.
Let's, we're all good. We're all good here. So
We're buds.
The love triangle.
Chi's a good guy.
Chi's all right.
We like Chi.
He ends the love triangle and, just basically is like, yeah, you and Kitty, you go for it.
You do the thing.
Then we get Kitty's fucking nightmare birthday. Not since Worm Eaters, our episode about Worm Eaters, have I heard Happy Birthday sung so horribly.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you.
Imagine being Kitty and you're invited over to Kang and Chi's apartment and walk in and see that fucking cum dungeon crack den with fuck written across what the fuck?
Dude, it is the most disgusting birthday party. It is in that shitty little dingy room with a spray paint on the wall, and it's the most depressing place to spend a birthday.
Grim as fuck.
Ever.
So yeah, Chi and Kang is singing Happy Birthday, like, make a wish, and I bet she's like, wish I wasn't in this fucking cum dungeon. And then the
fucking rape gang come home.
Yeah, the horrible rapist mates all show up, and at this point I'm like, oh no, where's this going? Even though I've seen it before, but still. Also, they cut the cake with a fork.
Oh, dirty bastards.
That was quite weird.
I didn't even notice
it was
that.
like a big fork.
Oh no.
It's just weird. I don't know, it just really threw me out, and I actually rewound it to check if I was seeing things. But anyway, they all eat the cake together. A food fight fucking breaks out. It's like, what's wrong with you guys? I would hate to hang out with these cunts. Like, they are the worst people.
I would just go home immediately. I would be so angry if I was on a date and they're like, yeah, we're gonna surprise birthday party, come back, we'll have a cake, we'll have the lot, and I'm taken to that shitty little cum dungeon with shit on the walls, with no lighting, and a bunch of rapists come in and start throwing my birthday cake around. Are you kidding me?
What the fuck?
And the whole time Kitty's like, don't drink too much, don't get drunk.
Yeah, she's clearly uncomfortable.
And they're all just fucking getting slaughtered.
Yeah. We sort of move forward in time, and Kang and Chi get fucked out of their minds.
Chi's great. He looks like a well-fun drunk. I want to drink with Chi. He was like,
but they're like, all right, let's go get some more alcohol. Yeah. And they go get some more booze. And they're drinking in the park. This is that nighttime drinking in the park. Kang's like, this is the happiest day of my life. It's like, dude, in that fucking cum dungeon? Really? Okay. And they're just singing this fucking, like, horribly, drunkenly singing. At this point, she's like, oh shit, we need more booze. So he stumbles off. Oh, yeah. And Kang and Kitty are left alone and start making out. And then some filthy, fucking disgusting guilos, also drunk out of their mind, approach Kang and Kitty, speaking very bad English. They're clearly not actually English speakers, which I thought was very funny. Yeah. They're like,
hey man, how's going?
Yeah, how's going?
Hey man, how's it going?
Oh, it's so funny. But yeah, they basically just start to attack Kang and Kitty, beating the shit out of Kang. Once again, he gets beaten up a lot in this film. Surprised he's not brain damaged. Maybe he is. Maybe that's why he does what he does.
Smash on his face.
Yeah, bottle smash on his face, and Kitty is getting attacked. Yeah, Kang is just getting punched to pieces. Like, it is nuts. Like, just over and over and over in the face. And then things get even worse. Kitty starts getting assaulted and raped while Kang is like fucking smashed to pieces, bloodied up, watching this, and he can't help. It's an absolutely awful scene. It's horrible.
It's the most horrible position to be in. Can you imagine being in that position? It'd be awful.
Horrendous. And yeah, then Chi comes back and sees this happening, and he pulls out like a stick, right?
I don't know. He finds something on the floor. I don't know if it's like a pipe or a branch or something. He's got something.
Some kind of, let's say tubular weapon. Some kind
tubular.
Of cylindrical weapon. And it hits the guy that was, raping Kitty. But then one of these foreigners grabs this giant fucking rock, smashes it over Chi's head, and kills him.
He's dead.
That's the end of Chi.
That's fucked. We loved Chi.
We love Chi. Chi's a fucking champ. He is by far the best like guy in this film.
He is. I want a friend like Chi.
Yeah. I could be your Chi guy.
Will you be my Chi?
You be my Kang. No, actually, please don't be Kang. So the foreigners kind of freak out. They run away. And Kitty, in this, like, panic, gets up, runs away, and runs onto a road and is run over by a car.
Not just run over, she gets hit by a car.
Yeah. And then
smashed onto the fucking bonnet.
Yeah.
And then run over by it. It's like a double fucking punch. I was wondering, after the foreigners like smashed Chi with the rock, they do a runner. So I was wondering, was this their car? They got into their car and drove off, and then kind of took her out on, like, not purposely, but she just ran into their car as they were escaping.
I actually didn't even think of that, but yeah, that would make sense. Yeah,
but it was quite horrendous. Like, she gets fucking rolled under this car.
Yeah, it's nuts. Yeah, it's horrible. And yet again, this is very clearly based on a real story. None of this shit is real. All of this sort of motivation sort of stuff is not real at all. Not real. It's not real. One not.
And then we go back to the interrogation.
Yeah.
And Kang's just like freaking out. And it's like, all foreigners are beasts.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, whoa, I feel attacked here, mate. What's going on?
I mean, he's not wrong.
There's clearly some kind of hatred for white people. I mean, like you said, I mean, the British did some fucked up stuff to Hong Kong.
You get where the rage that comes from, right? This is where the film, it's just like, okay, he's done. He was already not that well, and he had all the stuff with his mom and all that sort of stuff. Kitty kind of helped him a bit, and now the two people that helped him in his life have been horribly killed, and we're just smash bang into King's, what was it called? King's Hill or whatever, whatever the fake name for Bramer Hill was.
Oh yeah.
So we're in the hill.
Oh, so this is the actual case. This
section here is what this, this is what the film is riffing on. This is basically the Bramer Hill murders in a very gross and trashy kind of way.
The climax of the film, essentially.
Exactly, yeah. So that we see this foreign couple hanging out on the hill, and the gang are just there, drunk out of their fucking mind, total mess, and they approach this couple screaming at them, like just unhinged. The foreign guy in this couple is really pissed off, obviously, and his anger kind of triggers like a flashback for Kang, seeing he sees the death of Kitty again and Chi.
It's like he sees white people and immediately starts freaking out. It's almost like the red to kill effect. Yeah. He just kind of like, it triggers him.
But
and
for
he kind
Guilos.
And he just fucking leaps at him. Yeah. Doesn't he? He leaps. Yeah. It's a great leap.
It's a good leap.
Floors him and just starts pummeling him into the ground. The girlfriend, did you get her character's name at least?
It's not the same as the real name.
No,
I can't remember.
But the person that was based on the girl who got murdered, like, flees off into the I don't know what you call it. It's like a field.
Yeah, it's all these sort of big hills and fields and stuff. Yeah, but the gang catch up to her and they're ripping her clothes off. Beating her up and just start raping her, while at the same time, so it's kind of like a repeat of what happened before. Those three of those guys are doing that to the woman, and then Kang and muscle guy with regular haircut, his mate. So that was going back quite a while in the podcast now, but yeah, they're just beating up the white guy, like the male of the couple. It's horrendous. There's a lot of stuff of the woman trying to escape, and they keep catching up to her. It's extremely fucking violent. Kang starts beating the guy's head, and the friends start to realize he's really taking it too far.
Big muscly dude tries to stop him. Yeah,
there's a shot of him like smashing the guy's head and blood just spraying over him, and the friend, muscle guy's like, oh fuck, like this is too much.
And in the distance we can hear the girl getting raped, right? And this is when I was like, well, actually, Kang has quite an interesting role to play here, because for a very shallow film, it's a very complex role, because he's constantly torn between like two different states and emotions. Because on one side, he's always with this gang of rapists. Yet he's traumatized by his girlfriend getting raped.
Yeah.
Also, he's traumatized by Chi getting killed, yet he's on a kind of killing rampage.
Yeah.
And his actions and his thoughts are always conflicting, and it's kind of driving him into this insane state where he can't control himself. And I was like, wow, actually, that's probably quite a difficult character to play.
Yeah. He is quite good.
And he is good.
This main
He's
role,
good.
yeah.
I think he did this role really well, actually.
But so they tie up the guy, right? Like, take off his shoes, use his shoelaces to tie him up.
Which really happened as well.
Yeah. And, Kang's tough mate goes over and he joins in with the rape while Kang is with the foreign guy, right? And yeah, as you said, like, his experience of Kitty being raped and all of that sort of thing starts triggering, flashbacks in his own kind of rage, right? And the foreign guy who's been knocked out at this point starts waking up, and from this sort of rage that's been triggered, Kang just goes nuts and starts kicking him, punching him in the face. The foreigner spits blood in his face. There's this gross shot of like Kang licking the blood, and then Kang gets a big stick, just like in the real case, smashes him over the head with blood just spraying all over him. It's extremely fucking violent. After murdering this guy, he rushes over to where the woman is who's being raped and just pushes the guys off, right? And starts beating her over and over with the stick. It's absolutely vicious and horrible. I don't know how else to say it without it sounding disgusting, but yeah, he shoves the stick inside her. Again, like what happened in the real case, which is really fucking disgusting that they're doing it in this film. And then, bites off her nipple. I don't know if that happened in the real case, but it's just another disgusting detail that they're throwing in. And everyone's sort of watching this horrified.
Even the rapists are horrified.
They're shocked by this, And, they try to pull him off, but it's too late. He's just beaten her to death, and they throw the body down the hill. And it lands in that place that it was found at the beginning. Absolutely fucked. But this scene is the recreation of the real murders.
Right.
And it's really exploitative and gross. Yeah.
It's interesting because you see that body, the mutilated body at the very beginning of the film, I didn't realize it was a foreigner. So when we kind of looped round to that murder, I was like, oh, that's what's happened. Because even though we do jump back and forth between the timelines, and you're witnessing like the retelling of the things we previously saw, that still kind of took me by surprise because I couldn't tell it was like a foreign person.
Sure.
So I thought that was quite a nice detail.
It is pretty well structured, this film, in some ways.
Not.
in some ways. Like, I think that is a well-structured piece. And there's things that do work quite well, the way it cuts together. And it is, like, reasonably... Even though there's dumb stuff in it, it is quite, like, coherent most of the time. Except this last part of the film. We've only got 15 minutes left of the film, but it is fucking pure chaos. And probably the most of this amount of story is shoved into this end bit. So would you mind if I just did a speed round retelling of this? Because I think it's just too complicated to go into too much details. But basically, they've done this horrible murder. The gang has hidden in a remote place somewhere. And then it just gets really confusing and frantic. So they're in this remote hiding place. One of the guys with the orange hair at the front, he goes to talk to his uncle to deal with the situation. Don't know who his uncle is. And he comes back and has a whole bunch of guns and machetes and dumps them on the table. And at this point, I'm like, this is the second time I watched this film. I'm like, what the fuck's going on? Wait, why have they got guns? And then they go to a betting hall with these guns and machetes. And the guy that's running the betting hall is the mumfucker.
Yeah.
But he's like got all this bad age makeup on, like old age makeup.
Was that supposed to be the same character, or was it?
Yeah.
So, but he says he's the stepdad
I think
or
that's
something.
a joke because he fucked the mum.
Right.
Yeah. I think that was
Jesus
a gag.
Christ.
Yeah, it's very confusing.
He's great. He's come rolling in. He's got his
so
like
gross.
vest top rolled up, so his belly's hanging out. And he's like,
It's
hey,
horrible.
you want to be here?
But yeah, it's just so confusing because they're in this betting hole, and Kang and Harry, the curly haired guy, have a conversation where they're like, "There's an informer. We should go." I'm like, "What? The fuck? Like, I don't know what that means." But anyway, the hideous mumfucker guy, he runs over to Kang, refers to himself as the stepfather, which I guess is a very dark joke. And then as he's like berating Kang, a machete falls out of Harry's pocket, and it just sets off this robbery, like this absolute mess of a robbery, where they're pulling their guns out, they're holding up this place, but it's fucking chaos. Like someone else tries to pull out a machete, and just this gunfight breaks out where they're all shooting at each other, slashing at each other. A gun falls onto the ground. The mumfucker grabs it and just starts blasting randomly.
The mumfucker grabs it.
I don't know. I don't know what else to call him. And he's just shooting everywhere. One of the guys, long-haired guy of the gang, he's wounded.
He gets shot in the leg.
And then Kang lets the others escape. He's like, "Go on, off you go. You escape." And then he goes back to where the mumfucker is and just machetes him to pieces, kills him to bits. And in the process, Kang's also been wounded, but I don't know how. We don't really see that happen, but he's been slashed or something as well. So anyway, that happened. Don't know what that had to do with anything.
Nothing. Just
But,
more action. More bang for your buck.
Yeah, more bang for your buck. The gang is separated from Kang. They're in their hiding place. They're all angry at the hairy guy because he dropped the machete. And he's like, "Fuck you guys, I'm out of here." And he goes and leaves, all pissed off. And Kang's wandering around the streets with a wounded arm, sees on the TV that they're all wanted, so he's freaking out. And Harry, who's pissed off, gets arrested.
Going back to the real story, so Harry would have been the
kid.
the younger one, the 16, 17-year-old.
That's the implication, yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so he's been arrested and he's become the informant. But it's kind of a mess, right? It's not really accurate to the real story, but kind of playing on that sort of thing. So Kang goes back to the hideout and he's like, "Yeah, guys, we're wanted by the police." All right, cool. And let's all go to sleep. So they all go to sleep.
They say, like, "Where's Harry?" And he's like, "Oh, we don't know.
Yeah, he's gone.
Maybe he's been arrested." In which case, they'll be
get out of-
after us
yeah.
soon. So, let's just
out of
hang
there.
around for a few more hours. Let's leave in the morning. It's like, no, get the fuck out now. But they don't, because they're fucking idiots.
Yeah.
And they wait until, sunrise. Because you gotta wait till the sun comes up.
Yeah. And
At which point we cut back to the very beginning.
So, we get the first scene again with that big shootout, but we get a lot more details this time, and it's very funny. Just in a short version of it, until we get to the funny stuff. The long-haired guy, Shan, he is arrested after putting up a bit of a fight. The orange-haired guy, Chiang, he gets shot and killed. Big muscle boy, he lasts a bit longer, but he's shot, and I guess killed as well, although there's something I'll add to that later, which is a bit confusing. And then we get Kang's attempt at an escape, which is fucking golden. Do you want to talk about this? It's so
my
good.
God, I don't know if I can do it justice. Hang on. I feel like this is like a real kind of free-for-all at this point, because they're all kind of running for their lives. Some of them are shooting, some of them are hiding, some of them are running, some of them are dying, getting arrested. And then we get this ridiculous shot, this cut. And we just see this little, like, cute little chubby face of a baby. And he's just like, and you see this little baby in a pram, and you just think, oh, this is not going to end well. Kang fucking runs up, karate chops the dad. He's like, get the fuck out of him! Karate chops him, takes the mum by gunpoint, to which point the other cops kind of catch up, and he's like, no, don't move. I'm gonna kill this bitch. But she's not of high enough value.
Yeah.
So he fucking throws her to the side and picks up the baby. This chubby little cute
Holding
little
a gun
baby.
to this baby.
Holds the gun to its head. And it's just so stupid and ridiculous. And it goes to a level of ridiculousness that only Catherese can pull off.
Definitely.
They said, "Oh, come, I'm going to shoot this baby." And the officer's like, "No, the baby's innocent." And the hero cop, he comes from behind and fucking kicks Kang.
I think maybe that's Paul. That could be Paul that we hear about before.
Paul, the legendary Paul with all the information.
Yeah.
So he fucking kicks Kang. The baby goes flying into the air, and the female cop just like grabs it and does this like roll, and Kang gets arrested.
Yeah,
and then that's it. He gets arrested.
End
and
that
of.
is it. But we get a title screen at the end though. This is what I found. Look, maybe my math is incorrect on this. Kang's beaten up, arrested, whatever. And then right at the end, we just get a very blunt title screen that's like, yep, 2 of them were sentenced to death. 2 of them were 16, so they got life imprisonment. But I'm like, wait. No, wait, what? What are you fucking talking about? What do you mean? 2 of them were sentenced to death, but most of them are dead. I guess that's Kang. And who else? The other 2 guys got shot. 2 were 16. I guess that must be Shan, the long-haired guy, and the hairy guy. So I think they got the numbers. They gave so little of a shit by the end of this that they probably, I guess they accidentally put the real information of the real case at the end. But that is the end of the film. Before we go into like talking about
tell me you got another little tidbit.
It's not really a tidbit.
No.
It's just a very funny, you know when you buy a DVD of a Hong Kong film and it has a description of the film on the back? This is super funny. I found this one online and I guess it comes from a DVD. It's just really funny. Do you want to hear it?
Oh, give it to me.
Okay. A mutilated nude body is found by a couple of joggers and a rascal, Kang, is the chief suspect. Most of the film covers his life story in flashback and the events which supposedly backgrounded his motives. Young Kang wagged school with his friend Chi and got offside with both of his parents. With Dad for wagging school and with Mum for being instrumental in Dad catching her in bed with another. Both parents slap him while they fight. Mum leaves and Dad sends Kang to a boarding school. Things improve a little when he reaches 16. He's reunited with Chi, just back from the US.
Wait, he's supposed to be 16?
So yeah, maybe he was one of the
What?
The ones who got the life imprisonment. He invites Chi to stay and they He invites Chi to stay and they walk in on an apparently ordinary scene in Kang's lodgings, an orgy where his 4 gangmates are playing blind man's buff in the buff with 2 girls. Also, a previous scene shows the gang to have committed a gangbang, an attack on an innocent couple. Kang also meets a lovely and good girl, Kitty, and he woos her. One night, on her birthday, Kitty, Kang, and Chi are drunk and going home when 2 Guilos attack.
They say Guilos in English? Wow.
Chi and Kitty both die, and Kang develops a hatred for Guilos. But really, it seems all of society is against him. Almost everyone slaps him. The only ones who don't have just been killed. So when the gang decide to attack/rape a Guilo couple, what might Kang do?
Wow.
So it tells you the whole story.
Fuck, that's crazy. It's
up.
quite great the fact that they call them the Guilos on the English description as well. Like the clearly like racist term for white people. It's like,
super funny.
That's a great blurb. Yeah,
it really made me laugh. Wow,
the buff.
So we've talked about this film a lot, so maybe we should give a fairly quick summary. But yeah, how did you get on with this one? How did you feel about this film?
Whew. You know what? As like a film, we watched all these like really fucked up kind of scenes, but if we kind of compare it to rape scenes that we've seen in previous films or murder scenes that we've seen in previous films that we talked about, they don't really rank that high in comparison. Like, yeah, they're fucked up, but we don't ever see anything too gory, too exploitive visually, but thematically and knowing the background of this film really pushes it up there.
It's so fucking exploitative, this film. It's quite a despicable film.
I feel like the almost like the alternative motives of this film, why like more than the actual content itself. Like, I feel like the director, he clearly had a bone to pick with the white guys living in Hong Kong at the time.
I totally agree. I think it's like perhaps a film that's inspired more by the media reaction to the case and trying to create like a false motive for these characters. Which, I mean, does narratively probably make it a better story, but it's not, you can't base something this closely on reality and do that. Like, it's just so fucked up.
Yeah.
But it's a fascinating piece of fucked up Cat 3 film.
Yeah.
I also think, like, it's a fast film, and it's bonkers. Like, structurally, I think as a whole, it works, even though there's parts that are ridiculous. Like, it jumps forward in time when it doesn't need to in points, and it introduces characters, then forgets about them, and all of that's a bit fucked. But it is quite watchable in the sort of way it's laid out. So I do enjoy it as a film, as reprehensible as I think it is.
It was a great film, and as I said before, I really, really laughed my ass off at the just ridiculousness of it all. It was a great fun film. But this is kind of going quite off topic and kind of going back to the hatred for white people in Asian countries, because I mean, I don't know about you, but I've experienced it myself firsthand living in Japan. Most of the time, I kind of just brush it off, because in the grand scheme of things, the people who do feel those thoughts or feelings are in the minority. And the majority of the time, the people around me and the people living in Japan or in Hong Kong, I've been to Hong Kong as well, but they're all mostly very welcoming and hospitable towards you. But there are some people who do not feel that way. This isn't a personal experience, but I went to... I stayed up in Kyoto last weekend, and I just put on TV. And I tuned into a... I don't even know I didn't even catch the name of it. It was a television drama. And the episode started off of this, like, on this crowded bus. And there was a black guy sitting on the bus, kind of legs spread, taking up too much room, listening to music on his headphones. And all the Japanese people were like, this fucking guy, you know, like, sitting down when the grandma has to stand up. She hasn't got a seat. And the hero of this show... Sorry, this is going really off topic, but the hero of this show was like, hey, you're in Japan now. You have to play by Japan's rules. Stand up. Let the Japanese people sit down. And she kind of like gave this whole like speech to this foreigner living in Japan. And the black guy who was playing this character kind of like sheepishly stood up. And all the Japanese people like applauded. And I was just like, fucking hell. And I felt kind of like, not like attacked, but this kind of like weird underlining hatred towards foreigners living in Japan, as if that's like how lots of people do feel, but are kind of too sheepish to say out loud, so they kind of put it into shows or films or something. And this film also had that weird underlining tension.
Oh, definitely, yeah. But like on that stuff, again, not to add to the to this off-topic thing, but I feel like I think definitely anyone has experienced stuff like that in Japan for sure. But I always like to think of it as like, it's good to experience this, because now you're experiencing a tiny little fucking drop of what people of other colors have to experience every fucking day of their life in other countries as well. And this is a tiny fucking pinprick of that that you get here in a way that we don't have to worry about being killed or anything for what we look like, right? So probably a good experience in some ways to feel a little tiny little drop of that. But I do feel like this film does have a uncomfortable underlying hatred in it for sure.
You've seen the director's other films.
Yeah.
Is there anything like that in there?
From memory, no, but I could be wrong, but I think the white actress in this film, Suburb Murder, I feel like she shows up maybe in one of his other films. So he has worked with her again, but maybe, I can't say for sure, but I don't remember anything like this.
Right.
But those films are very grimy and gross, but in a different way.
I'm always quite curious when you see the white actors appear in these Cat 3 films, because they appear in The Untold Story as well. You know, like the what's the guy, the chief, Danny Lee. He's always got those like white prostitutes, right, with him, and I was like, who are these actors and actresses? Are they just like people they found, or people who kind of expats, or who were here temporarily and then went back to their country? Or
I'm always curious. They must be right. Yeah, like I feel like whenever you watch a Japanese thing that has gaijin actors in it, they just look like fucking Eikaiwa teachers.
Oh yeah, 100%. And I love all those stories. Have you? This is going really off topic. I'm not going over time, but
we're way over time.
All right, fuck it. I'll
no, go on.
You know the YouTube channel Wang?
No.
Oh, he does all these, like, I don't know, like tales of the internet, but he's a massive Resident Evil, the video game series fan, and the first Resident Evil game that came out on the PlayStation, that had a live action intro, and there were all these like white actors and actresses who were living in Japan who just applied for this job and got sent to Capcom to appear in this live action like zombie intro to this video game that became like one of the biggest video games of all time. And then they like did their contract and went back, and loads of them had no idea what they were actually doing.
Sure.
And what they were like, oh yeah, we were just told to film this fucking thing. And then I got my paycheck and then I left. And then like 30 years later, they found out like, oh fuck, I was in Resident Evil, like when I did that working holiday in Japan. You know?
That's too funny.
I'm always just interested in how people come to be in these weird, obscure films in these foreign countries.
Well, we might be talking about that again in a few episodes later.
Good
so
stuff.
We got to do the wrongometer. So how wrong this movie is, how fucked up it is, how much it shouldn't exist. Look, I'm gonna say I think this is one of the most repulsive films I've ever seen.
Right. And
just the fact that it's based on the true story but manipulates the story in such a icky kind of way, I'm gonna actually go for a 10 on this one.
Dirty bastard.
How about you?
Yes. You know what? When I was watching it, as I briefly said before, you got the rapes, you got the murders, but I feel like we've seen more fucked up rapes, more fucked up murders in previous films we've studied. So when I was watching it, I was like... Did I say study?
That's what I heard, but I like that.
You know what?
We study them.
We do. We study the rape, Steve.
Oh, no.
And so when I was watching it, I was like, yeah, maybe like a 6. Maybe a 6. But after hearing everything that went down prior to this, the case that it's based on, not only that, the stuff that they made around it. So the stuff that they made up to just give a bit more juice to the case, as if the case wasn't fucked up enough. Let's just throw in this huge like racist factor into it, throw in loads more rapes, loads more attacks, and just try to make the already really, really fucked up case just that much more exploitive. I'm gonna have to give it a 9.
Nice. Pretty highly ranked.
It's fucked. It's fucked. But hearing all that backstory, I had no idea about this film. The film or the case. So that was a juicy little episode. Well done for all of that.
Yeah, that's quite a long episode.
That was.
Sorry. All right. So how about next episode? What are we doing?
Next episode, we are going back
to Japan.
No, I did Japan last time. I did Metal Days last time. So I'm going to go to America.
Oh.
Going to do Hell Roller.
Oh, finally I have an excuse to watch this.
Yeah.
Nice. So if you want to get ready for our next episode, watch yourself a bit of Hell Roller. And as always, please follow us on Twitter. We are at SMSW Podcast. You can also send us an email at showmesomethingwrong@gmail.com. And of course, please give us a review on your podcast apps and tell all your demented mates,
Aunts and uncles.
extended family members. Do a Facebook post.
That's still a thing, isn't it?
Yeah, if you still do a MySpace post. Just get the word out, please.
Do it.